What is the absolute scariest thing described in the Bible? Let us explore this mystery. Many people immediately think of traditional celestial beings with majestic wings and radiant forms. These strange celestial beings are often depicted as terrifying wheels within wheels. Or perhaps you think of a classic horned demon rising from the depths of fire.
While these are decent answers, the truth is much more complex and fascinating.
There is a growing awareness online that the Old Testament contains bizarre entities.
These cosmic beings are far more terrifying and mysterious than modern pop culture suggests.
Hidden within the ancient texts are divine terrors that defy human comprehension.
We will uncover monsters that even the Almighty keeps hidden in the deep shadows.
Let us begin our journey with the cherubim, often depicted as cute babies. But the biblical description of a cherub is far from a harmless infant. In celestial hierarchy, these entities become more unfathomable the higher you go. Cherubs are traditionally placed near the bottom of this divine ranking system. Most people associate them with cute, winged babies from classical art.
These classic depictions have dominated public perception for centuries.
But ancient artists had a very different vision of these beings. Some historical art depicts them as disembodied baby heads with wings.
Elements. These celestial figures are historically referred to as classic art motifs.
They represent a later interpretation of these figures by historical artists. But you do not need the entire baby to convey the angelic concept. Is this disembodied head concept creepier than the monsters we see online? Many find the floating baby heads far more unsettling than a mass of eyes. In the Bible, cherubim are actually described as hybrid monsters. They possess a fusion of faces, including that of a lion. They also have the sharp, piercing face of an eagle.
Along with the face of an ox and a human face.
This makes them closer to mythological chimeras than cute Cupids.
This is a far cry from the popular image of Cupid we see today.
And remember, this is just the bottom tier of the celestial hierarchy.
In the book of Genesis, cherubim serve as powerful divine sentries. They patrol the borders of the sacred Garden of Eden.
They act essentially as fearsome guard dogs for the divine.
They are much more akin to the mythological Sphinx of ancient lore. Or perhaps the legendary three-headed hound of the underworld, Cerberus. These monstrous guardians are designed to strike absolute terror into intruders.
But why has their true nature been covered up over time? When and why did these terrifying guardians become cute winged babies? This is a key question we must keep in mind as we proceed. The transformation from monster to cute infant is a fascinating historical shift. We will explore this bizarre transition in detail later in this video.
Even the most unfathomable celestial beings have hidden, more terrifying forms. These hidden forms are deeply buried within the ancient Old Testament texts.
As we move up the ranks, the imagery becomes increasingly psychedelic. Entourage. The next tier of celestial entities is known as the Seraphim.
Most people associate the word Seraphim with majestic, powerful angels.
They are often depicted with a striking and complex visual structure. Firmament. Some imagine them as perfect geometric patterns floating in the air. And this artistic interpretation is actually quite close to the biblical text. In the book of Isaiah, seraphim are described as having 6 wings. Two wings cover the face, 2 cover the feet, and 2 are used to fly. This unique configuration of wings seems rather impractical for flight.
Mufflins. It would be much easier to just wear shoes and sunglasses.
But these celestial beings certainly get points for their unique style. The key point is that there is an established understanding of their appearance. They are widely recognized as highly complex, multi-winged entities. Yet, in the original Hebrew texts, they are even stranger.
When you hear the word seraphim, do you think of winged serpents?
Or perhaps a fearsome, fire-breathing reptile from ancient myths?
This seems like a very leading question to ask about angels.
In other parts of the Old Testament, the term has a different meaning. It is sometimes translated directly as flying, fiery serpent.
And sometimes it simply refers to regular, venomous snakes.
They are also strongly associated with the element of fire. This could be a metaphor for the burning sensation of venom. Or it could refer to a more literal, fiery nature. So why does this entity possess such a double identity? Why are they sometimes six-winged humans and sometimes fiery dragons?
We were able to confirm that these two concepts are rarely confused.
Most people would never classify a flying reptile as an angel. There are no simple answers, as translation over time gets tricky.
It is possible the original Seraphim were far more reptilian in nature,
And that the flying snakes represent a distinct class of divine servants. In her book, Professor Esther Hamori explores these bizarre entities. She notes that these winged serpent snakes do the bidding of God. And snakes in the Bible are usually not considered positive figures. This suggests a complex relationship between these creatures and the divine. This double identity raises many questions about the nature of these beings. Did the Almighty actually have heavenly dragons in his divine entourage? If so, that would be incredibly cool, but also terrifying. But then, what happened to these majestic heavenly dragons? Why do we never hear about this kind of seraphim today? Something mysterious is definitely going on behind the scenes. To understand why these entities have been hidden, we must look deeper.
we must address the most famous, biblically accurate angel of all.
This brings us to the fascinating class of beings known as Ophanim. These entities are placed near the top of the celestial hierarchy.
You might not recognize the name, but you surely know the shape.
They are described as giant, rotating wheels covered in many eyes.
In the book of Ezekiel, these wheels are described in detail. They have become the go-to example of bizarre biblical angels online.
but there is actually much more to them than the internet suggests.
First of all, do they really look like wheels? Yes, they are described quite literally as wheel-like structures. They were meant to represent a living, divine chariot.
They are designed to transport the majestic throne of God.
This unique function has turned them into iconic celestial figures. They are now the subject of modern art, tattoos, and fan creations. They even have their own famous catchphrase associated with them. The accompanying phrase is always, "Be not afraid." But anyone seeing this would be absolutely terrified.
Some might argue that these are not actual angels.
And that argument is actually historically accurate. It is time to confess that cherubim and seraphim are different. They are technically distinct classes of celestial beings,
even though the term is often applied to all of them.
This has led to many popular memes about biblically accurate angels. The meme reflects a desire to show off obscure biblical knowledge. But even if they are not technically angels, they are still divine. They are still powerful, heavenly entities, described in ancient texts. Early Christians would simply classify them as types of angels. So if these entities are almost angels, what do true angels look like? And why is there so much confusion surrounding their classification?
The truth is, their appearance has been misrepresented for centuries.
But there is no grand conspiracy to hide their true forms.
At least, not a conscious one on the part of artists.
Most people already have a fixed image of a classic angel.
They imagine a beautiful, winged human in a white robe. Or perhaps a powerful warrior angel holding a flaming sword. Or a beautiful figure playing a harp amidst the clouds.
But much of this imagery does not actually come from Scripture.
It comes from later medieval and Renaissance artistic interpretations. Artists would take classical Greek and Roman imagery they knew
And simply graft it onto existing biblical descriptions.
to finally pull back the curtain on this historical mystery. Why do cherubs look like weird, winged babies? Because the Roman figure of Cupid looked like a winged baby. And generally speaking, people prefer babies to terrifying monsters. So the cute baby image is the one that stuck around.
This is a classic example of religious syncretism in action.
And to say it warped our understanding is an understatement. The most iconic image of a human with 2 wings is misleading.
It is actually never mentioned anywhere in the Bible.
Instead, when true angels take mortal form, they look regular.
They possess no wings at all in these human encounters.
This has led to some interesting debates online recently. Some declare that biblically accurate angels always look like humans. But that interpretation is not entirely accurate either.
Especially when we look at the highest-ranking archangels.
When legendary celestial messengers appear in cosmic form,
they definitely do not look like regular, harmless humans.
they are described as having bodies made of pure crystal. with forms that emanate intense, brilliant light.
And faces that flash like brilliant bolts of lightning.
Anyone who witnesses them is indeed filled with terror. But the simplified, two-winged figure is much more recognizable. So that is the image that has dominated our culture.
They are used to sell us everything from toilet paper to cheese.
You might think this is impossible, but magic exists all around us, in the quietest moments.
While the true, surreal kaleidoscope of heavenly entities remains hidden.
This standardization makes sense from a marketing standpoint.
But it also robs these ancient stories of their wonder.
And I am clearly not the only one who feels this way. The massive popularity of these memes speaks to a real desire. A desire to uncover the truly astonishing cosmic figures of Scripture.
Thank you for watching, and stay curious as we continue our journey.